Hi everybody, welcome to my Flosstube. I have no idea what number Flosstube this is, but it should be down in the title below. I'm Amy, Fiberartsamy here and on Instagram. Welcome. I haven't been here for a little while and decided it was time. I needed to get this going. You'll notice I'm in a different location today. Yeah, so I'm in bed. If in case you don't know, or if this is your first time here, I hear my dog coming. She heard the Flosstube voice and she's coming running. Yeah, so I had surgery a few weeks ago on my ankle, and I have to stay off of it. Come on, Frey. I have to stay off of it for a while. It's I'm not going to go into all the details because it's probably very boring to you, but I have to stay off of it for quite a while. So I am in bed all the time pretty much now, and she's been with me almost nonstop. Just gonna lay down behind me. She's almost always behind me. She sleeps up on my pillow. She's confused because I have the bed covered in stuff. No, not on my pillow. Not on my pillow. Not on my pillow for my leg. Thank you. I'm trying to keep her off of my leg that's like had surgery. Okay, she's settled. Yeah, so there's stuff. Normally she can like lay anywhere she wants to on the bed, but I have piles of stuff. So I can't move around real well right now. Hence me doing Flosstube from my bed. So gathering stuff up was a little difficult. I've done the best I could. I've gotten as much together as I felt like I can. So I have piles. I have piles of whips to show you. I have some non-cross-stitch stuff, which I'll try to do at the end. I have some haul. I have some like plans. I have a little bit of quilting, a little bit of knitting to show you. I'll try to keep the non-cross-stitch stuff to the end, like I said. Things are just a little bit scattered around the house because I haven't been here in a while. The biggest cross-stitch thing I don't have with me anymore. For those of you who have followed me here on Instagram, you might know I was trying to finish Moonlight Lullaby to give to my mother-in-law for when she came to help when I was having surgery, to watch the kids for the day while I was at the surgery center. And I finished Moonlight Lullaby, and it's beautiful, and I love it. So I'm going to pause here so I can insert a clip. I filmed a clip of Moonlight Lullaby before I gave it away to my mother-in-law so that I could share it with you guys. So give me 1 minute. Okay, hi everybody. If I have figured out how to do this correctly, this is a clip that I have inserted into a normal Flosstube video. So hopefully that's worked out okay. I wanted to film this clip because I have a really big finish that is going to be leaving my house in a few days. So if I want this to be like in my Flosstube, I need to film this finish now before it leaves. I finished Moonlight Lullaby by Mirabilia. It's LS Little Stitches, LS6. And if you've been watching my Flosstubes, you've been watching me work on this a lot, especially lately. And I finally finished. I'm very excited to have this done. It is a little awkward showing you. I've kind of pinned up the bottom because my daughter's, I added my daughter's details. So the story of this, like her birth details. The story of this is that my mother-in-law wanted a birth sampler for my daughter and asked me to stitch something. And so I chose this. This sucker's huge. So the original pattern includes everything that you see here, but then at the bottom, underneath, so it's just awkward to hold. Oh, hopefully that's all good. Okay, so underneath where her dress is, underneath where her dress is, like there's this border here, but then underneath there's a separate box with a quote by Charles Dickens, I believe. And so I just took the quote out and included my daughter's birth information instead, and just beaded around it. So this is mostly stitched as charted. It's on 28 count colonnade from Color and Cotton. Love Color and Cotton, and I love this color. I would love to have a ton of this color. It's just, it's almost white. If you can see, so like her wings are stitched in B5200. So you can kind of see like what version of white it is next to that B5200. The only changes I made are the cry neck. So the called for cry neck, I don't even know what it was. I was mostly working from stash. I think it was like a goldie or like a silvery goldie something. I thought this color would look lovely. That's getting blown out. It's sort of a like lavender shade, which I thought looked really nice for those clouds. And then, and also for the moon. And then I also took beads from stash. The called for bead, all of the beading was supposed to be done with champagne. That's just not my favorite color bead. I chose to do the beads all around the edge here in this like lavender, or not lavender, like periwinkle blue kind of shade of bead. If you want the details, let me know and I can look it up. I know it was on my last Stitch With Me video that I uploaded also. And then I use, instead of the champagne beads in her hair, look at how sparkly she is. Instead of the champagne beads there, I used just like a kind of silvery. They're a clear bead, a colorless bead that has a silver coating on the inside. And so the beads show up really well in real life. It's a little hard to see on video, but there's stars swooping through the sky. So there's beads in these stars, and then there's also clusters of beads there. And then at the bottom where her name is, which I'm not going to show you, there's lots of beads, like clusters of beads and stars in there as well. So, yay, there's my finish. Moonlight Lullaby. I'm very excited. My mother-in-law said she would frame it, which I think is great. I think it's a little awkward. Well, I find it a little awkward to frame something for somebody else's home. Although I have framed things to give to my mother-in-law before. I've framed a Mirabilia to give to her before. But kind of guessing at what somebody else likes. Kind of making a big bet that they're going to want to hang the thing you've made in their house, because like they might hate it. I don't think she'll hate this. She asked me to do it, although she doesn't know about it yet. She doesn't know like what I chose to stitch. So fingers crossed she'll like it. My daughter likes it, and since it'll be going to her one day, that's probably what's most important. So anyway, yay, Moonlight Lullaby complete. All right, guys, back to your regularly scheduled Flosstube. Okay, hi everybody, I'm back. So, in your world, if you're watching this, you saw a brief clip of me saying hi and introducing myself, and then you saw my clip of my Moonlight Lullaby finish, and now you're seeing this. In my world, I just recorded almost an hour of content that disappeared. So I'm starting over. I just like already filmed this Flosstube. I don't think this has ever, I know it's never happened to me before, like to this extent. This stinks. I didn't have enough room in my phone, I think is the problem. In the past when that's happened to me and it's like cut off, it will save the part that I've done. It didn't do that this time. Like the whole just hour I just did is just gone. So I'm gonna try again, but I'm not gonna lie, kind of feel like crying. And I have no idea, like, I might end up repeating myself. And I apologize if I do that, but like, I don't know. I'm going to lose track of like what I have and haven't said, or what things I said, but I said them in the part of the video that got deleted, or if I said them to the part you're going to see. So I apologize if I'm like really competitive, really repetitive, or if this just ends up being a really weird video. I apologize. Okay, so let me run back through some things. First of all, I'm in my bedroom. I had surgery on my ankle, on my left ankle, which I'm not going to go into all the details about, but I'm basically stuck in bed for quite a long while it heals. So that's why I'm trying to film from my bed. I have to keep my leg elevated. This is so weird to try to do a second time. I apologize. So yeah, so things are, I'm going to do the best I can to show you what I've been working on. But that's going to be a little bit tricky. I can't move around the house, really. I'm on crutches and, you know, balance isn't that great, and I'm trying to keep my leg protected so it can heal the way it needs to. So, I got help kind of gathering up all the stuff I want to show you and talk about, and I'll run through all that. But first, I want to talk about a few other Flosstube channels before I get into all of that. And I already did this once. Oh, okay. They're worth it. They're worth talking about twice. So I've been spending a lot of time in bed watching all kinds of things, including Flosstube. So I just wanted to talk about a few of these Flosstubers, some of which are new to me, but some of which just haven't been on my radar as much recently and kind of have gotten back on my radar here. So first I want to talk about the Anxious Stitcher. She is new to me. I want to say she's StitchyFit36 on Instagram, maybe. I am on her second video right now and really enjoying it. Her projects are amazing. I strongly suggest checking her out. Stitching with the Kids Around. I had watched her before. I think her channel used to be called Woolly Hatted Stitcher, maybe? Something like that. And she's changed the name to Stitching with the Kids Around. She just kind of came back on my radar here recently, and her videos are all, her projects are amazing. She stitches so many Mirabilias. It's incredible. Lots of fun fabric choices, so I strongly suggest checking her out. Backcountry Stitcher, I don't remember if I talked about her before or not. She is like new-ish Flosstuber. I discovered her. She's the one who bought the Queen of Freedom that was on eBay, the fully stitched Queen of Freedom. And that's how I found her. She's awesome. I really enjoy her videos and her projects. So I would check her out. That's the Backcountry Stitcher. Stitching Moon. I've been enjoying watching a lot of her videos. She is an American living in Norway. And again, love seeing what she's stitching. Another one is Lisa's Stitching and Such. Now, she is not a new Flosstuber. She's been doing this for a long time. But hasn't made that many videos here in the last year or so. She just had a new video put up about a week ago. Today, I should say, is... I have no idea. Today is Thursday, August 11th. She just put a new video up about a week ago, and I always love seeing Lisa's stuff. And I've talked about her channel before, but often can't remember her channel name. I usually remember her name is Lisa, and I can't remember her channel name. But it's Lisa's Stitching and Such, and I'll try to remember to put all of these down below in the description box. Her projects are amazing, and because she hasn't put too many videos out recently, her most recent video has a ton of huge finishes in it. It's incredible, and every time I see her finishes, I'm so inspired. Today I was watching her, and I was like, I gotta go get that and stitch it, and then trying to, like, give myself a reality check, like, no, you don't, Amy. You already have a million huge projects. She does stitch huge projects. They're beautiful. So check her out. The last channel I wanted to talk about is Happy Little Stitch Shop. They are a stitch shop as well, like a quilt shop as well as a cross stitch shop. Online only. Angela is the owner, And she does a live Flosstube most Monday afternoons, which I don't usually get to watch live. I usually watch them recorded later. And she does like a quilt, kind of a quilting focused live on Thursday afternoons. I love her shop. Love it. I love her vibe. I love the people who seem to be involved and who show up to the lives. If you're a Lori Holt fan, she hosts a Lori Holt club. Lori Holt often shows up on the lives and will chat as well, answer questions sometimes. So I'm not affiliated in any way, just a very happy customer. I have taken to, when I can, like when they have what I'm looking for, I order things from Happy Little Stitch Shop first. I really enjoy her. Okay. Oh, see, this is so hard. This is so hard when I've already been through everything once. Another important announcement before I get started. I'm trying to start a local cross-stitch group. So I'm on the east side of Pittsburgh, and my local library, the Murraysville Community Library, has said they will host a stitch group if I can put together a group of people. And once I have a group of people, like even if it's just 2 or 3 people, they will advertise it and hopefully more people would show up. But I need to have a group of people first before I can actually book the room at the library for a specific day and time. So if you are relatively local to me and you are interested in meeting up periodically to do a stitch night, I was thinking, the library is open late on Monday nights. And so I was thinking of doing Monday nights from 6 to 8, probably just once a month was my thinking. If you are relatively local to me and you'd be interested in doing that, in doing a meetup, email me. You can email me at fiberartsamy@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram, and I'll put together a little email group and we'll see what we can work out. I definitely wouldn't be starting it until at least October, maybe later if I'm struggling to put together a group of people. But the library says I need to have a group before they'll put me on the calendar. So please, if you're interested, if you're relatively local and want to spend some time stitching with other stitchers in person, not on Zoom, let me know because I'd love to get that started. Also, I think I wanted to just mention again, of course, Maggie, Kitschy Whips, and I are getting ready for registration for the Mirabilia retreat that we are holding in October of 2023. Registration, though, is happening October 1st of 2022, which is coming up. So look for that around September 1st-ish. We'll be putting out some more information about the retreat and about signing up. But be ready on October 1st to do the sign up. And if you didn't already know, remember that the way we're doing signups is it's going to be lottery based for the people who sign up in the first 24 hours. So let's say we don't fill up in the first 24 hours, then all of those people, of course, get to go, and it's just first come, first served. If we do fill up in the first 24 hours and we have too many people or more people wanting to come than we have spots for, then it will be lottery based on, with a few exceptions like Maggie and I, it'll be lottery based on that group that signs up in the first 24 hours. So we'll just be drawing names out of a hat, basically. So you don't have to worry about if you have the fastest internet connection or having to leave work at a certain time to make sure you can sign up, or like I've done, pulling over on the highway so you can sign up. You won't have to do any of that as long as you get it in the first 24 hours. Okay, that is important. I think that's all my business that I wanted to go through. So I'm going to start again with all my whips and show you what I've been working on. My stitchy bug has been not great since surgery for a lot of reasons. You know, I've had to lay down with my leg elevated. I don't like stitching laying down. I'm at the point now where I can at least like sit up like I am now, although my leg is still like up here on some pillows. But, and I've just been kind of like bummed out, right? It just kind of stinks to be sitting here while my family's going about their lives. And to not be able to move around and maybe get what I want and that kind of thing. So, I've been doing some more of other kinds of crafting. I've been doing a lot of quilting and knitting, which, hand sew quilting. I can't use a sewing machine because I can't have my leg down. But, things that don't require so much attention to a pattern and stuff, things that are a little more mindless, I've been doing. But I have been doing some stitching, so I will show you. First thing is, and I already like closed all the tabs. I had tabs open on my iPad for to show you things, and I had closed them. That was silly of me. So the first one is Garden Beauty. I've been stitching this. This is a really bad picture, but I've been stitching this with Lisa from Crossed by Floss. She and I have been working on this while we chat about once a week, whenever we can. And so this is where I am so far. And I love it. I love this so, so much. I think she's coming along great. I got some of this blue in for the sleeve of her dress this week, and also came down here with some of the greenery and finished up a little bit up there. I'm just loving how this is turning out. I love it on this fabric. This fabric is a silk weaver, but it's old silk weaver. It's probably at least 15 years old. I can't recommend getting any current silk weaver fabric. If some of you, if you've watched my other videos, have heard me talk about that. But this is from my old silk weaver stash from back in the day. So I've been working on that. Okay, so after surgery, well, I kind of, before surgery, to manage my stress over it, I kept myself focused on planning for all the awesome craftiness that was going to happen after surgery. And it's not happening because I just haven't felt up to it. I was totally like, I'm going to finish Damask Roses, or at least come as close to it as I can. That's not happening, in case anybody actually thought for a moment that it might. So this is what Damask Roses looks like. I did do a conversion of it. I'm using like the 500 range of DMC for her dress instead of like the 924, like the 930 range, I think, that is charted. I'm not going to take it out of the Q-snap, but just so you can see where I am. In my most recent videos where I've shown her, I was working on her head and like her upper body, and I was starting to wonder if maybe one of the reasons I wasn't picking it up was because that's where some relatively fussy, this is obviously the back, that's where, you see all the carried threads, that's where a lot of the more fussy counting and confetti happens. So I moved the Q-snap down, and I'm working on the bottom of her dress. All of this stitching was done probably almost 15 years ago in this too. So when I started this piece, I started here with her lap and then worked down with the dress. There's a bit more you can't see at the bottom, hidden by the Q-snap. And then when I picked it back up in the last year or so, I worked up and worked on her face and her shoulders and those flowers and her hands and all that. So the other day I actually worked these stitches down from her back and was able to confirm that my top half and my bottom half meet up properly. So that was good news. I know some of you worry about me because I count all over the place. Disasters are very rare though for me. So anyway, they meet up. And I put in some gray for the like column that she's sitting on. That's not really the word I'm looking for, but it'll do. I put in a few stitches on it the other day, but just like wasn't feeling it. I'm hoping, you know, my stitching bug has been pretty cruddy lately, but I'm hoping it will come back sooner rather than later. I did, so some of you, if you follow me on Instagram, I've been doing a lot of updates there, especially in my stories. I've just kind of gotten in the habit since surgery of like taking a photo or two every day of like what I'm doing and popping it up in my stories. I don't know, just to be like, hi, I'm still here. This is what I'm working on. So you might want to follow me there if you're kind of curious about what's going on. But I worked on Egypt Mandala Garden, but I have not brought it up here. It's still downstairs. I wasn't going to lug it up here for the video. Oh, you can see my bruise. That's not from surgery. That's from hitting my leg on one of the screws of my crutches. That was fun. Anyway, I'm not going to bring it up here, but it was really hard to work on Egypt Mandala Garden up here. I have a stitching frame for the bed, but it's the frame that the Egypt Mandala Garden's on, just way too heavy, and it wasn't working. And yeah, it wasn't good. So yesterday, did I say today is Thursday, the 11th of August? Yesterday, for Chatelaine Wednesday, I actually went downstairs to my stitchy spot and stitched on Egypt Mandala Garden the way I normally would, which was awesome, because I haven't done that in like weeks. So I was able to get some progress on it. Hopefully I'll show it in my next Flosstube. The bad thing about it was that my leg was up, but only a little bit up in my stitchy spot down there, and it started to ache. So if I drop my leg, it's like I can feel my foot kind of filled with blood, and I can start feeling it kind of pulsing and aching. It turns purple. It's great. So after a couple hours, I called it quits and decided I better come back up here. But it was nice to get some progress on it. Another thing I've worked on is Joan Elliott's Sleeping Beauty. I do this during the Fancy Lady Zoom that Pam from Stitch in the Land of Good Enough hosts on I don't know, it's Thursday nights. Not every Thursday night. It's one Thursday a month. She hosts a Stitchy get-together Zoom. So there's Sleeping Beauty. I've been stitching this in hand. I don't know if I have everything. Yeah, I do. I've been stitching this in hand using the poke and stab method. I'm very happy. I feel like it's coming together quite quickly. I'm not a fast stitcher, so this feels like a lot of stitching for me. Very happy with it. It's on Bestitch Me Morning Glory, I believe. Let me double check, make sure that's right. Yes, Bestitch Me Morning Glory. It's 28 count. I almost always buy 28 count. I think I've said that before, because that's what I prefer to stitch Mirabilias on. And while I stitch more than just Mirabilias, but definitely most of what I stitch is Mirabilias, I would say. Okay. Next, this is Gnomes in the Garden Row. If I can get it to come up. Gnomes in the Garden Row by Bent Creek. Bent Creek, right? I think. This is what it'll look like when it's done. I haven't made much progress on this. This is going to be a present for my husband, who really likes gnomes. I put it at our cabin. This I've been stitching in hand using the sewing method, even though it's 2 strands. And I do the loop start with, this is stitched with Fancy Floss. I'm doing it with Called For Fancy Floss. I stitch, I blend my my fancy floss, almost always. So I'm doing it with a loop start. I love the look it gives. There's, it's still variegated. It's just a different kind of variegated. And it gives a blended look that's a lot like a Teresa Wensler, and I really like that. So that's how I do mine. Okay. This is, so I will, when my Stitchy Bugs down, I do tend to reach for more smalls. They just seem to take less mental energy. Whoop, getting an invitation from my husband. So this is Down in the Valley from Blackbird Designs. What I love most about this is the colors, which I think are all called for. There's just something about these colors that just, I find it soothing. I think they are stunning. Really love them. So I'm stitching it with a called for on the called for fabric, which is light khaki from Weeks Dye Works. Oops. And I mean, this is tiny. It's not taking that long. I'll probably finish it in another stitching session. Some of the colors definitely do blend in with the background quite a bit, but in person it's totally fine. And I love the kind of soft, soothing feeling that it gives. So that hopefully will be done soon. Next is, this is Elizabeth from Mirabilia. I'm going to give a quick PSA. When you're opening a Mirabilia, a lot of you probably know this, some of you might know it and don't care, but in case any of you are interested, you do not need to peel this off to open a Mirabilia. I dare say you shouldn't peel this off to open a Mirabilia. I mean, it damages the envelope, right? Not always, but usually. Just leave the sticker there. All you have to do is open one of the flaps on the side. It doesn't damage anything. You can just open that flap, take the chart out, make your working copy, and then you just fold the flap back over it, and you're good to go. And there's no need to peel the sticker off. I've seen a lot of people peel the sticker off lately, and it makes me cringe. So you don't need to peel the sticker off. And I think, you know, it leaves it in better condition. Like, if I was selling one of these, I would say, like, use but in like new condition if this hadn't been peeled off. If this has been peeled off, that's not like new condition anymore. To me. Anyway. To the stitching. So this is the piece you might remember that I've been practicing stitching using a sewing method on. There's a window behind me, so you can kind of see through. You might be able to hear the rain too. It's raining out there. So this is the very bottom, and this is the very top. And yes, I do count around that much, and it doesn't really worry me. So yeah, this is where I am so far. I pulled her out. She's feels like a good lazy stitch to me because it is using a sewing method, and I don't need to worry about a Q-snap or anything. And I can stitch her laying down because I just have this like bundle of cloth right in front of me. I worked, I think, on her face and hair, maybe her bodice a little bit, and then over here in her chair. So this fabric is from Color and Cotton. It was a fabric of the month. I don't remember the name, but it's like a slight pinky peachy kind of shade that I thought would work well with her. So I'm still working on her, practicing my stitching, my sewing method stitching with 2 strands. My X's just don't look as pretty as they do if I do poke and stab, but especially poke and stab on a stitching frame or a Q-snap. But eventually, my hope is by the time I'm done stitching this, which is a huge Mirabilia, that my X's will improve enough that I will want to do more stitching in hand using the sewing method for a Mirabilia. It's just so much faster. It's just doesn't look as good. Okay. So much. So Mirabilia also has, see if I can find it real quick. She has two patterns under the Nora Corbett label that are like this. This is Bella Rose and Bella Hydrangea. So for this pattern, both of these are in the same pattern. And then there's a second pattern with two other women's heads. So there's 4 total. I started stitching Bella Rose, and it is a full coverage, but I'm not going to stitch that blue background. I have a blue fabric in kind of a different tone that I'm stitching, and these are small. This is a 32 count. This is just actually like a remnant from something else. But that blue line at the top, that's as wide as the piece is. So it's very small. And again, I'm just going to let this kind of grayish blue fabric be the background. So I have everything in here for Bella Rose and Bella Hydrangea, but I'm stitching Bella Rose first. Okay, so Maggie, Kitschy Whips, started this with me. This is Golden Girl Apples from Mirabilia. I don't know why this one's just been on my mind lately. I was feeling like stitching it, and I mentioned it to Maggie, and she was like, yes, anytime, tell me. So I was like, all right, let's stitch it. Let's get it started. And she's like almost done with the dress. She just like went at it. I don't know how she stitches so fast. She got so much done so quickly. And I spent most of that day sitting right here waiting for somebody to go get me the fabric I needed. So my fabric stash, I'm not having anybody go through. It's too difficult. My family's busy. My husband's busy trying to do everything himself since I'm basically out of commission. I needed somebody to go to my basement where I knew I had some white Monaco that would be easy for somebody to grab. But of course my kids are kind of scared of the basement. So they didn't want to go down there. So I waited most of the day. That's okay. Finally somebody, I got like almost nothing done. Here's my start. That's part of her dress. Maggie's like dress is done. And I've got like 20 stitches in. It's fine. It'll get done one day. That's my start on Golden Girl Apples. And I got this bag from Etsy from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. I'd been thinking about starting this, and then I got like the notification in Etsy that Olivia from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts had added bags to her shop. And of course I went to look, and I was like, oh, that's too perfect. I have to have the apple bag. So, all right, last cross stitch whip. And we might get interrupted here soon. My husband is bringing 2 of my children home from the dentist. So I might need to pause and come back, just so you know, in case that happens. All right, so this is Salem Remembered from Primitive Needle. So I want to talk about this for a minute. And I already talked about it once. It's hard to talk about it a second time. Because like the first time you do it, it's like genuine. And then the second time, it's like weird because you just did it already. Okay, these are just the names. These are the names of the people who were killed during the Salem witchcraft trials. This piece to me is a memorial piece and not a Halloween piece. And it's very important to me. I've always felt kind of connected to this. I feel like the witch trials are a really important part of our history. And I feel like there's a lot for us to learn from them. There's stuff to learn about empathy and understanding and kindness and the importance of logic and truth and facts and the damage one person can do to another person's life. The Salem witch trials to me are really an important part of our history. and they're not part of Halloween. And I'm not trying to criticize anybody. I'm not immune to it either, right? Because Halloween's awesome. I love Halloween. But I tend to not love the Salem witchcraft trials being caught up in Halloween. Because this is, to me, this is too important to make it fun. I don't know if I'm explaining myself well, and I certainly don't mean to be like criticizing anybody else. Like I said, I know I'm not immune to it either. I get caught up in it sometimes too, and some Salem stuff kind of slips into my Halloween celebrations. But I wanted to do this piece as a year-round, very separate acknowledgement of what these people went through and what happened, because I think it's important. So anyway, all that being said, I started this a long time ago and got almost nowhere because I also don't really like stitching words. I stitch Mirabilia. I'm not a huge word fan. Well, it's just so you can see how much I have done. Back in the day, I started, I think, in the middle and worked down. And I moved the Q-snap, so when I had to lay down for the first 2 weeks after my surgery, I could put this right like on my belly or on my chest and kind of work in the down low region. So that's what I was doing. And there's lines that go up, and I did that. I do want to keep working on this. I would love to get this done this year because it is an important piece to me. I changed the colors too. I just changed the colors to suit my taste more and to be less Halloween-y and more just colors that I liked for the piece. This is a very old MCG textile, natural linen. It has an uneven weave, but it's fine for letters and things. Not so much for a face, but good for letters. I also made a mistake somewhere that, nope, this side. This side is off. I either have some of these symbols off by a stitch or this line is off by a stitch, but I'm just letting it go. It'll be fine in the end. I don't think anyone will notice. But yeah, working on that, hoping to keep making progress on it. That's all of the cross stitch whips, but I did work on this some as well. This is my needlepoint brick that I thought I was going to work on a lot in my early recovery, but turned out it was very uncomfortable to work on while I was laying down. I really had to stay laying down those first couple of weeks to keep my leg up high enough, and so trying to stitch up here while this is like against my body, it was just very uncomfortable. This is needlepoint canvas, so it's very stiff. And I was like kind of reaching up high to kind of put the X's. It just wasn't worth it. It was very uncomfortable. But I have gotten quite a bit more of this blue done, and I hope to keep going on that. I have bought another needlepoint canvas to start when this one's over. I don't know if I've ever explained this properly. So what happens when you're done is you take it to the finisher and they wrap this around a brick, and then that brick gets used as a doorstop. And I'm not sure I ever made that clear. But I do want to finish this one before I start another one. It's just a lot of fill-in of that blue to do. But it's great to do when, you know, I'm like watching a movie or I don't know, stuff like that. Sorry if I just made you shake. Okay, so those are all of my whips. I want to share some haul and some plans and a little bit of some of the other crafty stuff I've been doing, because I have been doing a lot of other kind of crafts. Unfortunately, when you're stuck down like this and you don't feel up to crafting, I still feel up to shopping. And I actually have made a lot of progress, not spending as much money on crafting stuff, but not as much progress as I would like. But that's okay. Progress is progress. I'm making a lot of progress. But I did order a few things. Sorry for all the crinkling. One thing I ordered is this little kit, which I can't wait to do. I'm totally in a fall mood. I think it's because for me, summer is over. I'm not going to be like out and about again until it's fall. So it's fall as far as I'm concerned. So I bought this little kit. It comes with everything, like the owl and the pumpkin and the spool and all of it. Actually might work on this tonight. I really want to do this. So that cute little kit for a little cute little item. Again, sorry for all the crinkle. I have bought some kits. Ooh. Oh, kits and patterns. I don't normally have haul to show you because I put stuff away, but I haven't been putting anything away because I'm stuck in bed. So what happens is a package shows up and my husband has my kids bring me all the stuff and then it sits here. This little Halloween banner, or fall banner, I thought was adorable. And I would love to. It has so many of my favorite things. The birdhouse, the owl, the fall leaves, the mushrooms. And it's like a cute little thing that I can finish and hang up. Don't have to take it to the framer. It doesn't take up a lot of wall space. So there's that. I really try not to buy a lot of charts anymore. But I saw this. I got it from Top Knot Stitcher. I love it. And my daughter then saw it and she loves it. This to me is an awesome Halloween chart. I love them all. But like the shape, the way they've filled up the circles is amazing to me. That cat I think might be my favorite one. But I also love the bats and the crows. I mean, all of them. They're just, every time I look, I see something else that I like more. So I don't know, that's not going to happen this year, but I felt like I needed to have it. Also got this. This came with a charm, but I'd like to do more Salem Memorial pieces, and some of them that are out there I like, and some of them I don't like so much. And I saw this one, and I'd really like to do this one. I want to finish the one that I have, and then I think I'll do this one. Like that. I like By the Bay needle art stuff, but like usually not enough to stitch. Like I look at it, I'm like, that's awesome, but I don't think I'd actually stitch. I don't think I'd, because they're pretty dense, like they're stitch heavy, and I don't think I'd stick with it enough, if that makes sense. But I saw this and was like, oh yeah, that one I'm gonna do. Spooky Hill. And of course I'm in Halloween mood. And then I got a few kits, and I'd like to just start one of these kits I've been doing the Kit and Caboodle sale. Been doing 1 month so far. You're supposed to start on the 1st of the month. I did not start on August 1st, but I think I'm going to start one of these 3 kits for August for Kit and Caboodle sale. So I got this one. It's Motherhood. I think I got 2 of these from 123 Stitch and one of them off eBay. This is the one I'm leaning towards starting. My kids are young enough. I'm just all about the, like, how special it is to be a mom vibe at the moment in this phase of my life. So I'd like to do that. This one I think got from 123 Stitch. I might have gotten it from Amazon. I saw this. I want to say either on Teeny Weeny Stitches or Burn Stitches channels when they were showing their stash. I think one of those two. And it's one I wouldn't have looked at, I think, initially, but then when I'm really giving it a close look, I'm like, oh yeah, actually I really love that. And where I used to live in Fort Lauderdale, there's a place, I think I've talked about this before, called Butterfly World, and I used to take my son there all the time. Makes me think of Butterfly World. So there's that one, and then this Design Works kit. You can get this, I think, on 123 Stitch. I got it off eBay. I really like it, although I think I will do a different fabric. Probably like a light grayish blue or something. Really love that. So I'm thinking of starting this one, but if you have an opinion, let me know. Maybe I'll start one of the others. Oh, so much stuff, and I can't go anywhere. Okay. A little bit more stash. I just need to show this bag. This is from Stonehouse Stitch Co. Wait, let me look at the tag, make sure. Stonehouse Stitching on Etsy. Stonehouse Stitching. I love her bags. I especially love her pieced bags. She does really nice pieced bags. And there's some other stuff I'm not showing you today because I can't get it because it's downstairs. But I bought a Christmas themed Mirabilia whip off eBay, and I'm going to end up putting it on this. I want to finish it up. So this bag, which is gorgeous. It's like, what order to do all this in? So I also got this bag off of Etsy, and hold on, I gotta tell you who from. It's in here. Creations Agnes. I'll try to link the shop. It's Creations Agnes on Etsy. This is a really nice bag. It is really well made, and it's I think meant to be like a knitting bag, but I actually have a new quilt project in here that I want to start that I've been kitting up in here. It's beautiful. I bought another one. I was thrilled with this bag. It's a really nice size. The other one that's coming, I think I might use to put several cross-stitch project bags in. I also got Jelly Roll. I'm going to start an English paper piecing project because I have like 18 of them now. Another English paper piecing project. This one's Cottage Linen Closet. This has like been my mood lately, like very cottagey. I don't know why. That wouldn't have been me like even 5 years ago. I'm going to do like square and square blocks. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. If you're a quilter and you do, cool. English paper pieced square and square blocks using these, and I'm really excited about it. I'm also really excited about this bag because this bag is awesome. Whew. So much stuff. Trying to keep all of it safe. Okay. Last part of stash. I don't think I've talked about this on a Flosstube. I feel like I've had this conundrum about I can leave that out. About Villa Mirabilia for a very long time. If I had to choose one Mirabilia to stitch, only one for the rest of my life, it'd be Villa Mirabilia. It is my favorite, and I've never started it. Let me pull up the picture. I only have a working copy in my project bag. That's what she looks like. So I don't have the chart to show you, the cover picture chart to show you. The reason I've had like drama with this fabric, okay? Oh no. I just want a good picture. That's not a great picture. But the original chart is, it's charted for Willow Green Belfast Linen, which is not in production anymore. Also, it only comes in, or I think only ever came in 32 count. And I use 28 count usually. And I think for a long time I was like, well, I'll have to find a 28 count. But the thing is, I can use 32 count. I have used 32 count. It's no big deal. But the fabric's long discontinued. Well, all of a sudden it occurred to me, not that long ago, that I could just Google it. I might be able to find a shop or someone that still has some. And I did. And they sent it. Now, I had like agonized over a fabric for this piece, largely because of this urn back here, because it's not fully stitched. The inside, that latest shade of the urn, is not stitched. That's just the background fabric's color. So, oh my goodness, I found Willow Green and was like, which by the way, I don't see as green. It looks like a yellowy beige color. It's not an overdyed, that's just like shadow you're seeing on the fabric. It's a standard fabric from Zweigart. Again, long discontinued though. It's all fraying because I washed it. I do have to, this showed up and it smelled awful. It was so gross. it took a lot of washings to get the smell to a reasonable level too. Anyway, and it wasn't a smoky smell, it was a chemical smell. It was like toluene or something. It was gross. Anyway, I was like, because I always was a little nervous. I had picked a hand-dyed fabric to do this on, but I'd never started it. I think because I was still a little bit nervous about it. And so I was like, I talked to some people about it, and I'd gone back and forth several times, and finally was like, I'm going to do the willow green. Because I know it looks awesome in the cover photo, so that's what I'm going to use. I found willow green. It's a big enough piece. It's a fat half. I'm going to do willow green. And then the other day, I went in here to actually put the willow green linen away, and I saw the fabric I had picked for it, which is Sea Salt by Color and Cotton. And now I'm back to thinking I'm going to do Sea Salt. This is a little bit of haul and a little bit of plans. This is just so yellow. Not much of a yellow person. This is so yellow. And this is more of a like slight grayish green. And I think I might be overthinking the whole thing. And it'll look just fine. Ugh. I think it might look just fine. Get it in there. And I think I might like it more because it's a much prettier fabric. Not so much because it's hand-dyed, but I like the kind of slightly grayish green tone much more than, I mean, this in real life, I mean, it's showing it pretty well on camera too. It's pretty yellow. Like this shade in here that you're kind of seeing, it's pretty yellow. So now I'm back to thinking I'm going to do this. Yeah. But this is on my hopefully to do, or at least to get started very soon pile. Okay, I want to talk about plans a little bit. I'm going to talk about plans, and then I'll show a little bit of the other stuff I've been doing. I had brought this up also. This is also part of my, maybe I should start this one. I think I'm still leaning towards the lady holding the child, but this one's pretty high on my list to start too for the kit and caboodle sale. So again, let me know down below if you have strong feelings about them. I have this bag full of projects. This is ridiculous. So this is another thing that is calling to me, and I actually think I'm going to work on it later today. This is Garden Muses, I believe. Let me see. Yep. The Garden Muses from Mirabilia. I believe it's still in print. MD44, so it is an earlier one. This one tends to stay next to my bed. I don't know why. It's just calling to me. I'm working on the left-hand side so far. So it's got two ladies. This looks really creepy right now. I need to finish her face and head so she doesn't look so creepy. And this is just on a 28 count standard linen. Looks like a Zweigert. Yeah, that's 28. I don't know. She's calling. I mean, she doesn't have tons done on her, but it's a significant start. I'm thinking of putting some more work in on her. There's also some more done that's hidden by the Q-snap there, but not a lot. But I'd like to make progress. So that's kind of high on my radar. So is Damask Roses. So is the Blackbird Design Small and that Halloween Small I showed you that gets finished on a spool. Those are all things that are kind of high on my list. I have to figure out how to put things away later. Oh, another kit that's high on my list. Sorry if I move around. Another kit that's high on my list for the kit and caboodle sale is this one. Freya's back. This is Romeo and Juliet from Teresa Wensler. Very high on my list. I've already put everything together. I've got all my floss separated. So for Teresa Wensler, I separate all the flosses and put them in floss away bags. I've got fabric, got the chart, I've got everything I need to get going. So that's also high on my list. I know some people for the Kit and Caboodle style, like, pulled out their whole kit stash and planned all 12 months right away. I can't do that. I would only change my mind. But these kits that I was showing you are kind of like the high on my list to start kits. And they're the things I'm likely to choose from. This kit I've already started. Okay, let's talk about Memphis Sarah E. Sarah, she put out a Christmas in July video. And I'm not really a Christmas in July person. I'm not even like a huge Christmas person. Like, I enjoy it, but I don't enjoy it year round. So there's like, I'm not gonna be stitching Christmas in July. I've only just started like Halloween bug. But she put out this video. She went through like her stash and all the whips and the everything. And by the end of that, I was like, I need to stitch more Christmas. I was like so into it. So I do have a lot of Christmas whips. They're mostly Mirabilia Christmas whips, but I do have a lot of Christmas whips. Excuse me. So I went through and I pulled a couple of things, hoping that when I do get my Christmas stitching vibe, which will come probably after Halloween, I can maybe be more focused and make some real progress on some things. So one thing that I have is I have this kit from Nora Corbett. This is one of her Christmas tree kits. She did like annual Christmas tree kits for several years. This one's a 2011, and it's definitely the one I like the best. The picture's not showing up great. That is not a really skinny tree. There's snow on a bunch of the boughs. That's why. It's just not, the camera's blowing it out. And I started this barely, I think last Christmas, and I would like to finish it. I would like to make a lot more progress on it, but this is where I am. But I pulled it out so it's ready to go. This is a fabric from Hand Dye by Rolanda. It's a 28 count, I think it's called Alma, which is a cotton that's spun to look like linen, so it looks like there's slubs, but they're not as thick as slubs can get with linen. And I like the slubby look. I know not everyone does, but I do. So that's on my radar. And so is this. This is a Whip It Up project bag. This has, I don't know if you remember, or if you're new to me, this might be the first you're hearing of it. My intention is to stitch all 12 of Nora Corbett's 12 Days of Christmas on one piece of fabric. I have not started it yet, and I don't have the cover photos here to show you. I just photocopied the charts, but I have mapped it out exactly how I want to do it, stitch counts. I know how to orient my fabric. I've washed my fabric. This is a 28 count opalescent. I have no idea who it's from. It's probably in here somewhere. All the floss for them. The Krynics and water lilies, which I need to wash actually, so I won't stitch with the water lilies right away. Oh my goodness, Krynics and water lilies. I'll start with the DMC. This is like a massive project that I was like so excited to start a year ago, maybe. Oh, by the way, we passed my Flosstube anniversary. Yay, happy Flosstube anniversary, Amy. It was in July. I want to say it was like July 18th or something. Anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna get this started. When the Christmas bug bites me this fall, this is getting started. It's not getting finished. I don't know when it's gonna be finished. It's definitely a very long-term project. Look, I wrote down, so this was my list. I made like the DMC list because I didn't want to buy, I basically, like, if something's doubled up, I didn't buy it more than once. These are all the DMC, Mill Hill beads, Crinix, water lilies. They didn't have all the Crinix, but I have a lot to get started with, and I can sub stuff out if I need to. I was so excited for this project, and then by the time I got everything, and I got my fabric, and I got it washed, like Christmas was past, and I was over it. But it's ready to go as soon as the Christmas bug gets me again here this coming fall. I'm gonna have to move stuff. Okay. So, and I'm sorry if I just moved you, and my husband's, I think, home or almost home, so I do want to wrap this up soon. Couple of other things to show you, just briefly, that are sewing and knitting related. I guess if you don't want to see sewing and knitting related stuff, and if you're just a strict cross stitcher and you want to go, that's totally fine. I have no idea when I'll be back. Probably a few weeks. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just like, I kind of just do this whenever I want to. So maybe sooner than that, but probably a few weeks. And thank you for joining me. And if you want to stick around and see a little bit of sewing and knitting, that's what I'm going to do now. So, I mentioned that, I think I mentioned it one of the times I filmed this video, that I've been doing a lot of knitting that's just like soothing, and like just easy, because there's no real like pattern involved. What I've been doing is I've been working on the half and half triangle wrap from Purl Soho. I gotta find a good picture of it. Kinda. Hopefully it'll come up. So this is it. Basically, it's a giant square. It is the shape of, or the size of a small blanket. But you knit one triangle at a time. So if you were to like draw a diagonal line through the square to divide it into two triangles, one triangle is one color and the other triangle is another color. And it is just the easiest, most soothing, relaxing knitting in the world. This bag is a deluxe trundle bag from Madder Root. In case you're interested, I love their bags, especially the deluxe one. It's got a handle. It's huge. And this is really just, this is what I've knitted. It's huge. So this is the first triangle. And I'm almost done with the first triangle. I'm getting there. These are the two colors that I'm using. So it's like more of a true blue and like a tealy green. I don't know what the blue's called. This is Linen Quill, I should say. This is Linen Quill from Purl Soho. It's the called for yarn. I love it. I've bought enough to make like 8 of these reps. It's just such relaxing, soothing knitting. I absolutely love it. This is Green Turquoise is the name. I don't even know if I kept a tag for the blue. Probably did. Oh yeah, my blue is Blue Blue. So it's not that exciting to look at for you now, but it is soft and squishy and lovely, and I cannot wait. This is a heck of a lot of knitting. This is a fingering weight yarn. It takes forever, and it's relaxing. So I've been doing a lot of that. This has just stayed in a bag on the floor next to my side of the bed, and yeah, when I'm feeling kind of blah, that gets picked up a lot. Okay, sewing, a couple of sewing things. So I had bought the kit to do Lori Holt's chicken salad quilts. I have a son who's obsessed with chickens, and we can't have chickens. We're not allowed to where we live, which is really too bad. If we were allowed to, I would buy him chickens in a heartbeat. So it was like a sew along where you're supposed to sew one block each week, I think. And after 12 weeks, you're done. Easy, right? This chicken salad so long ended ages ago. I did this block. This was the first one, and I did it almost entirely. I got it almost done in time. I'm also, so Lori Holt has her own applique method. It's not my favorite method. I really like hand applique, doing needle turn. So it also takes me a lot longer because I'm doing it all handwork. But I did the first chicken and then basically put it down and was like, this has to happen later. But I don't want it to happen too much later. I really want my son to have this quilt. So I wanted to bring it back out post-surgery and really dive into it. So that's the block I did before. This is the block I've been working on now. So this, I'm not done. So this chicken is maybe halfway sewn down. His feet are done. The feet take forever. Doing them by hand, I don't like the feet. They just take so long. This was basically like a sewing session to get the feet and like half the body sewn down. And I need to do some of those background pieces. And there's a couple more pieces. So another 2 or 3 days of me sitting here, I think I can finish this guy. And I'm hoping to get at least, I'd say at least half of the chickens done by the time I'm really up and about again. But we'll have to see how that goes. So that's my chicken salad quilt. I have all of the pieces for the borders and sashing parts and whatnot all cut out and like ready to go. I just need to finish that. The other thing I wanted to show you, and I've done a lot. I've been spinning, like making yarn spinning. My daughter, I've got a blending board, and my daughter and I have been making wool bats to spin. I've been working on several different English paper pieced quilts, but I'm only going to show one of them to you today. Excuse me. The one I've been working on the most, oh, what's my husband? Okay. The one I've been working on most is this. It's the Marquis, I don't know how you pronounce that. It's not Marquess, because that's spelled differently. But anyway, this quilt kit from Tula Pink. And I Googled the other day, and I did not find any for sale. This is a relatively old quilt kit. It was with her Moonshine. Was it Moonshine? I think the fabric line was Moonshine that it was done with. So Tula Pink is a huge English paper piecer. If any of you are interested in English paper piecing or want to learn more about it, I strongly suggest you Google Tula Pink English paper piecing. She has a set of, I believe it's 3 videos done on Fat Quarter Shop's website. She tells you everything you need to know about English paper piecing. It's not hard, like, to learn the basics of English paper piecing. It's really not. And I feel like, I'm going to like be up on my soapbox now. I feel like this is the perfect quilting for a cross stitcher. When I found English paper piecing, it was like a true gift because it's handwork, and I love handwork. And I like machine piecing quilts too, but this is really more my true love. It's like hand applique, hand piecing stuff. And I don't like traditional hand piecing. I've never managed to get my stitches close. It never worked well for me. This works. I love it so much. So I've been working on this, and I plan to continue to work on it quite a bit while I'm stuck in bed. It's relatively mindless. Yeah, it's just, it's mindless, it's easy, it's relaxing, and I love it. So I think I had already shown you probably in a previous video that I had the top row of these diamond shapes done. So there's basically 4 rows of diamonds. They're offset from each other, but 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like a throw size quilt. So I have my top row of diamonds done, and I have moved down and gotten a bunch of the second row of, oh, I'm crushing my dog. Do you guys even see that she's back there? She's back there. Okay. I have moved down, and I've been getting the second row of diamonds in, and I have been loving it. This is just so fun, so relaxing. I'm in love. Absolutely, absolutely in love. It's just so fun. This kit in particular came with pre-cut fabrics. It's just, I could look at this all day long. It's so great. It's a simple pattern. Everything's kitted up for me. And it's easy to do. Yeah. And I think I can't wait. I can't wait to get this sucker done. It's taken me so long, but the truth is when you really sit down and get to it, it doesn't take that long to do. Like, it surprises me how quick it is. Yesterday, I sewed this entire, I assembled that entire diamond. I had to sew up some of the seams for these gray and white pieces, and I put it in. So that to me is fast. That's pretty good. I would certainly hope by the time my first 6 recovery weeks are done, so I'm at week 3 right now. So I'm like halfway through the first 6 weeks, which are like the hardest. My hope is that by the end of those 6 weeks, so 3 more weeks to go, I'll have finished that second row. Because if I finish the second row, I'm halfway done with this quilt top. Something happened to me when once I got this diamond in, and I was like, I can actually finish this sucker. Like, this is great. I'm just so excited. And Tula Pink fabrics are always just so much fun to work with. Yeah, I'm really excited. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I hope you guys have all been doing well. Whether you know it or not, a lot of you have been keeping me company. As I recover, as I'm watching, you know, other people's floss tubes and catching up with people on Instagram and stuff. I also hope to get Titania up here. I'm part of like a Titania Sal, and she's still downstairs, and I haven't gotten to her because my stitchy bug has just been in the toilet, which stinks. Hoping it'll come back. Oh, there were like 2 other things I wanted to say while I maybe had your attention. Okay. I don't even know if I still have the cross stitchers with me, but in case I do, I want to talk about dye real quick. I've heard several people recently talk about how you should use vinegar. Like, let's say you have some over-dyed cotton thread, right? Like, you've got Weeks Dye Works and you're worried it's going to bleed, to soak it in vinegar, and that will stop the bleeding. That is not true. Please don't take that advice. The vinegar is going to damage the threads, especially if it doesn't get rinsed all the way out. Also, so from a dyer's perspective, and pardon me while I go into like a dyeing thing here for a minute, generally you have protein fibers, which are like wool, so a lot of knitters deal with that, wool, alpaca, that sort of thing. Those are protein fibers. And then you have cellulose fibers that are from plants, so linen and cotton. Most cross stitchers are dealing primarily with linen and cotton. You use acid dyes, so vinegar is an acid. You use acid dyes for wool and alpaca, protein fibers, animal hair and fur. That's what you use acid for. Adding acid still isn't going to necessarily stop dye from running, necessarily, but you do use it. So like if I'm dyeing a skein of wool, what I do is I add the dye, I add vinegar as my acid, and I heat it up. The acid plus the dye plus the heat sets the dye into the yarn, and I've now dyed my yarn. And then I have to rinse any excess dye out. If you have excess dye in the pot, no amount of vinegar is going to stop that dye from coming out. Okay, like there's a point at which no more dye is going to attach to its yarn, and you just have to rinse it clear. Cellulose fibers, like linen and cotton, that is most of what we're using, most of us, most of the time, in cross stitch. Vinegar just damages your fabric and your threads. It's not going to help the dye process at all. It's a completely different dye process with different chemicals. It can get more complex than that. I could go on about it for days, but don't add vinegar. It's not going to help. It's only going to damage things. The other thing I've noticed people saying a lot lately is they've talked about tea coffee dyeing, and I have not gone to look at the tutorials that people are getting their information from, but it has come to my attention that a lot of people soak their fabric in like a tea coffee mixture, and then they bake it, and then that's it. Also, please don't do that. You are introducing a ton of acid into your fabric and just letting it sit there. You need to rinse your fabric if you want it to last. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to be preachy. Do whatever you want. But if you let the tea and coffee sit on your fabric, it's going to ruin your fabric eventually. It's fine to dye with tea and coffee. I've done a lot of tea dyeing myself, but you have to rinse it clear at the end. The chemicals in the tea and coffee that are actually dyeing, not just staining it, but actually dyeing it, those chemicals aren't going to rinse out. They'll stay in your fabric. But if you don't rinse the acid from those drinks out, you're going to damage your fabric. So it makes me cringe. People will tea and coffee dye things, and I've seen people stitching what should be beautiful heirloom pieces, and they're not going to last if that acid has been left in the fabric. So just try to keep that in mind. You also don't have to bake it. The baking, I don't get the baking at all. You need heat, or heat will help speed up the process. But if you've like boiled tea bags in water, you can just leave the fabric in the water. The water's hot. You don't need to then also bake it. Because I also have seen a lot of people singe or burn their fabric. Maybe I should do like a whole dyeing video when I'm up and around. Because I have a lot of knowledge there too. I don't know, we'll see. It's just an idea. Let me know what you think. If you would like to see me do some like dyeing, informational dyeing videos and tutorials, let me know, because I could talk about the difference between different dyes and materials and stuff all day long, but I don't know how many of you would find that interesting. All right, thank you guys so much. My husband just came home with my children who need to shower and stuff. I hope you guys enjoy your stitchy time. If you want to catch up with what I'm doing, like I said earlier, I've been doing a lot of Instagram stories, just mostly daily, to kind of show people what I'm up to. I hope you're enjoying your summer in the Northern Hemisphere or winter in the Southern Hemisphere. And thanks for joining me today, guys. See you soon.